up, y'all? This is your girl Nemia Carnice with another edition of She Is Nemia's High Heels and Lipstick Conversations, where we have topics for the mature woman, the grown-ass woman, the seasoned woman from every walk of life. We aim to uplift, empower, educate, and encourage the woman within, mind, body, and spirit. So let's get to it, y'all. It's High Heels and Lipstick Conversations with your girl Nemia. Come on and tap in. Hey, what is up? What is up? It is your girl, She Is Nemia. You know how I start with another edition of High Heels and Lipstick Conversations. Oh, come on in, y'all. I need y'all to come on in. And as always, I ask that once you come in, that you check in with me. Check in with me. Let me know that you are here. I got my whole little setup. I'm going to watch the comments, something that you share tonight in the comments. I may share it on screen, your thoughts, your perspective, because it is a conversation. And we want everybody to be a part of the conversation on tonight. It's going to be a blessing on tonight. This is a pass your collection plate, type of evening on tonight. Hey, for checking in, our girlfriend, Nick. Hey, Nick. Hey, Nick. How are you? Thank you for checking in. If you are checking in, I need you to throw some kissies in the chat, some lipstick, some high heels emojis. If you're a brother, you're checking in, you just want to see what we're about, I need you to go ahead and throw some fists up in the air or some arms up in the air, and let me know that you are checking into the conversation on this evening. I appreciate you. I see you coming in. I see y'all coming in. I thank you. Hey, Tammy Morris, thank you for checking in. I appreciate you on this evening. Thank you for being here. Well, y'all, listen, it is, another edition of High Heels and Lipstick Conversation, where, if you don't know, I want you to know now, that we have conversations for grown as women. So when you think of high heels and lipstick, one, I want you to think about women of a different standard, women who, just have a little different mindset, a mature mindset, a seasoned mindset. We're going to explore topics that are common to everyday women. But these conversations are always designed to challenge you, to change you, to make you think, make you laugh, make you cry, all that. But one thing you can guarantee, that it's always going to be real, because I like real conversation. I like to be real grown. I like to be real sexy, real classy, real bossy, all that, real ladylike. That's me. That's the population of women that I don't mind drawing, because we got something to say too. Sometimes the most negative perceptions of us as Black women are out there, and so sometimes we just we have to counter that. So that's what High Heels and Lipstick Conversation is all about. So I always put out a disclaimer. Y'all know me. I put out a disclaimer. Hey, Mia. Hey, Shahida. Thank y'all for checking in. Hey, Nichelle. Thank you for checking in on this evening. I always got to put out this disclaimer and let people know that, the thoughts and opinions expressed on tonight, they are my own. I don't represent any entity, any organization, anybody. I'm not affiliated. My thoughts and opinions are not affiliated with any company, currently, or in the past, or in the future. So sometimes you just got to say that to let them know that your thoughts are your own. And so I just like to put that out in the open. I get a lot of curiosity. Hey, Francesca. Hey, girl. Hey, Soror. Hey, Genesis. Good evening. Good evening. It is your first time here. Thank you for joining us, my lady. Thank you for being here. You let me know. We want you to engage in the conversation and let me know what you think on this evening as we dive into our conversation. But always give that disclaimer. But I always got to express what I am not, because I get a lot of curiosity about, high heels and lipstick conversation, and I'm building an audience, or at least trying to build an audience. And let me say what I am not. What high heels and lipstick conversation is not. What She Is Nemia is not about. We are not a platform that necessarily I'm not going to say necessarily. We are not a platform that bash men. Okay, so when I say real grown, real sexy, real bossy, and all of those things, our platform is not built on bashing men, especially Black men. So if you're looking for that kind of toxic femininity mindset, this is probably not the platform for you. The alternative to that is that I'm also going to always bring the woman's perspective. I'm a woman. I'm a seasoned woman, over 40. I have a family that I've taken on. I have marriage and all of those different things. So the perspective I'm going to bring is that of a woman's perspective. I'm going to bring it from a perspective at this juncture in my life. And I'm going to bring a perspective um, for Black women because I understand all sides of the coin. Okay. And that perspective is not always going to jive with some brothers. Okay. Because it's a woman perspective, it's a Black woman perspective. We see things differently. We don't always see eye to eye on that. But it's never my intention is never to create disunity, especially within our community. I'm not about that. That's not what I'm all about. So as much as I don't support toxic femininity, I also don't support toxic masculinity. I think we can have dialogue, we can have conversations where we may not always agree. And this platform is not just built on relationships, right? Because we're not talking about relationships tonight. We're talking about a whole nother topic. But we don't always agree. We won't always agree because we have different perspectives and different perceptions. We see the world from two different angles. And so I just want to put that out there because I've got some curiosity about, what I'm about, what my platform is about. So I just want to let y'all know. So again, thank y'all for checking in. Hey, Melanie. Hey, Mia. Hey, Maria. Thank you, ladies, for checking in on this evening. But let us get to a couple things. Before we go into our conversation, before I always got to talk about some trending topics, So let me listen up, y'all. It's She Is Nemia's High Heels and Lipstick Convos trending topics. Let's see what's up. Okay, trending topics. Ain't that corny? I thought that was cute, but corny and cute at the same time. Okay, so trending topics. We got to talk about a couple things that are in the headlines as of this week, today, even. And because I always think it's important for us to stay abreast of what's going on in the world, around us, and not just, social media is a very powerful force now, but just not some of the negativity that we get engaged in on social media. But something that I have not heard a lot of conversation about is the prosecutors that dismiss charges against the Atlanta police officers involved in a fatal shooting of 2020, Rayshard. And if you don't remember this, because it's been a couple years since we've even heard a whole lot about it, I'm just going to play a little video for you that will remind you. So these officers were charged, but the charges were dismissed after fact finding, all that. So let me share this with you really quickly. So this is the video. And it's not playing. It's not playing, y'all. So let me stop sharing. I'll try to get it playing later. But anyway, if you remember that case, was a young man who fell asleep. He was drunk behind the wheel of his car, and he was in a Wendy's, I do believe. And long story short is another story of a young black man that gets killed, and he gets into a scuffle with the and not a scuffle in terms of fighting, physically fighting, but somehow, some way, he gets one of the police officers, stun guns, and he was shot to death and killed. So those officers who were a part of that were charged, but it was said that the charges have been dropped since then. So if you don't know, pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on around us. Okay, so the big thing on today. Before we get into the whole loan debt thing, the other thing that dropped actually just before I came on with you guys is Kobe Bryant's wife, and so Vanessa Bryant. She was awarded $31 million in damages after finding Los Angeles County liable for infringing on the constitutional rights of Vanessa and co-plaintiff Christopher Chester, who each lost a spouse and daughter in the helicopter crash. So yeah, I know that was Kobe's wife and how we lost him. But she was ordered money. She was awarded monies because they violated her rights. And so, and I think you guys know, if you don't know the story, the release of photos of the crash site and things of that nature. And so Vanessa went after them and she got awarded money for that. So, good for her. That's the same. Imagine seeing images of your spouse in their death, or just images of the crashing. That's heavy. That's a lot to, imagine. So, anywho, student loan. So let me share with y'all, if y'all don't know. Black Buddha says, great for Vanessa, won't bring Kobe back, but they shared his pics. Yeah. Hey, for checking in, my baby mama, Kima. Thank you for checking in. Thank you for checking in, Keisha Gray. Seltz, thank you for checking in. Hey, Ebony. Hey, Gigi. Thank y'all for checking in. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but yes, good for Vanessa. Good for her. Good for her. Okay, Biden and the student loan debt, right? So this has been all the talk on social media today, and if you are like me and probably millions of other folks, your education costs and you got student loan debt over your head. So it is this whole student loan thing has been criticized, and then there's some people that's cheering about it because it's 10,000 off of their student loans. But if you've been under a rock somewhere, all the talk today has been how President Joe Biden announced his plan to address student loan debt, which includes debt forgiveness for certain borrowers and extending pandemic-related payment costs. The administration has already canceled nearly $32 billion of the $1.6 trillion in outstanding federal student debt by expanding existing forgiveness programs for public sector workers, disabled borrowers, and students who were defrauded by for-profit college. So those for-profit colleges, and a lot of people went to these for-profit colleges, they're not even credible. We can name some Brown, Mackey, and some of those schools that were giving out this degree and making these students take out all that money. There was some penalties for those for-profit colleges, and they were defrauded. So Um, Biden is forgiving up to 10 or will have up to 10,000 of their federal student loan debt forgiven if they received a Pell Grant as an undergraduate student, or the individual borrower is making less than 125,000 yearly, and married couples or heads of household who make less than 250,000 yearly. So they'll have up to $10,000 forgiven, provided they were part of the Pell Grant. There will be a website that'll go up for eligibility. You can subscribe to the U.S. Department of Education for updates if you are impacted, like so many of us are impacted, and I'll share that website. But 10,000 is not a lot. I just shared a meme today that said, to be honest, I already forgave my student loans. I've been forgave them damn things. So it's not a lot. That's interest. That $10,000 is probably what we've all accumulated in interest since we finished undergrad and grad school and all that. So it's not a whole lot. It's something, but I just was buying to just go ahead and forgive all my student loans. Yeah, that would be reparations for me, but I don't know. What do y'all feel? Y'all got student loans out there? Y'all think 10K is a lot? Is enough? I know it's not for me. My education costs, and that just come from the time and the era that we were in, right? So our parents pushed us to go to school, get an education, and we weren't taught the financial aspect of it. Like if you start taking out these student loans, you're gonna have to pay them some bitches back after you're done with school and all that. We weren't sufficiently taught about those kinds of things, and so there is a lot of Americans. There's a lot of Black women in particular, because we're the most educated in all this, that are drowning or suffering in student loan debt, and so it's just a real thing. So, Biden, if you're listening, just forgive them all. Y'all got money. See, y'all sending billions of dollars over there to Ukraine to help fight their war. I know y'all got money. So, uh, that's just what I think. Anyway, Shahida says, yes, I got them. No, it's interest. It's the interest. Melanie said, I don't think it's enough, but for some, it may cancel them totally with 10K. So it's a start. Yeah, it's a start. It's a start. Um, Back Buddha Fly Pod says that should be 100K for descendants of slaves. Hey, I'm a descendant of slaves. And if Biden canceled my student loans, I can consider that part of my reparations. Um, and then he also says, I don't have any, but I worked at a college. They charging 30K a semester. Multiply that by 4. 10% or 10K isn't even enough. Biden is full of it. Yeah, it just seems like a drop in the bucket. I've heard people say that, I'm gonna wait it out. I'm gonna see, I'm gonna see what else he roll out with, because he's getting a lot of criticism. There's a lot of criticism behind this whole 10K forgiveness, and some of the criticism is that it's going to drive inflation. Like that 10K that they are forgiving from probably millions of people who make under 125, we're going to get that in gas. We going to continue to get that in food. I wish I would buy a pack of chicken wings now. $20 for a pack of damn chicken wings. Like, we're going to eat that cost one way or another. Out of our taxes, out of our daily living, gas prices, food prices, all that. So it's getting a lot of criticism right now. So, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I'm gonna wait till the website roll out and see if I can get 10K knocked off. I might do that. I ain't gonna lie. 10K is 10K. So, Anywho, let's go ahead and get into our conversation on tonight, because I don't want to waste too much time on that. I have two special guests that are joining me on this evening. You know that over the last couple of weeks, we have been digging into this book. We are finishing it up tonight. The Black Girl's Guide to Healing Emotional Wounds by Nijiama Smalls. And last week we talked a little bit about the healing process, and some of the things that we discussed was self-awareness. We had our special guest master counselor on, Francesca Ballard, who has checked in with us on this evening. But we talked about self-awareness and forgiveness and contentment, because these are the concepts that are contained in this book. And so tonight we're just going to finish up this conversation. And again, you can get this book on Amazon. If you have not, is this your first time checking in? It is Nijiama Smalls. You can get it on Amazon. It probably costs maybe $12.99 at most. If you have Amazon Prime, you'll have it by tomorrow, or Friday at the latest. But it's a very good book. It's an easy read. It even has scriptures in it. If you're like me and you need to be inspired by scriptures at times and tie it all in for you, then I think you will enjoy this book. It's not alone and exhausted. It doesn't come from a space of where it's putting a whole lot of scientific jargon in the book. It's just from a down to earth perspective. This is what causes our traumas. These are the behaviors that result because of our traumas, and how we can heal and get past our traumas. And so that's what we're talking about on tonight. So let me just read an excerpt to get us started with the conversation. Then I'm going to introduce my guests and bring them in. But chapter 3 of this book is called The Soul Cleanse. And what it says about the soul, it says, your soul consists of your mind, will, and emotions. Your mind is the most powerful of the three because it powers the other two. So your will and emotions are all controlled by your mind. How your mind thinks, where you take your mind to. The way that data is interpreted in your mind determines how you behave and react, fight or flight. The way that data is interpreted also determines how you feel about situations. In order to change our behaviors, we need to cleanse our soul. And so she talks about, just taking inventory of our minds and our thoughts, and how that makes us feel from an emotional place. And it can, counter our ability to heal and move past our traumas. She says, cleanse your soul by eliminating negative thoughts. Any counter productive thought not filled with love and not directing you to a purpose-filled life, get rid of it. Make a commitment that you will no longer entertain negative thoughts, even if they are true. Release it. No need to torture yourself, even if someone harms you. Recall the best with that person. Typically, you added them to your life for a reason. Focus on that. So, in other words, she's just saying focus on positive things. And so, again, it's a good book. I got, some nuggets out of it. When she started the book, she talked about these 4 different women. I could see myself in at least 1 or 2 of the women, especially before I got to a place where I considered myself, healed. And so tonight we have a special guest. We're going to speak to someone, a young lady, and a past special guest, Dr. Cheryl Watts. Both of them are past special guests. So Dr. Cheryl Watts talked to us last year during the Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we got a little bit of her story. And then Dr. Trevaugh, you saw just a few weeks ago when we talked about being a bad bee, and having it all, and owning a business, and also, making it do what it do with, with managing a family and all of that good thing. So we're going to talk to these ladies again tonight. So I'm not going to do them justice by reading their bio. So I want them to talk about themselves, to brag on themselves. I can tell you that Cheryl, she's going to share her testimony. She's an owner. She's an entrepreneur. She is an author. She has a book that's out. She has Cindy Girls Foundation. And so she has some upcoming events that she's going to talk about for Cindy Girls Foundation. So I'm going to let her brag on herself, because I know these ladies personally. They are goal friends, not just my girlfriends, my goal friends. We push each other to the next level. We talk about goals and aspirations and things that we would like to accomplish, and we help each other accomplish that. And then Dr. Trevaugh, which you met a couple weeks ago, she again is a business owner. She has a doctorate. She's doing her thing, and God has really blessed her, not just what I would consider a business, but also a ministry of hers. So I want you to put some kissy lips in the chat, some high heels, some fist up, whatever, to my two girlfriends. I'm going to call them the doctors, Dr. Cheryl and Dr. Trevaugh. Say, hey, ladies, welcome, welcome, welcome back to High Heels and Lipstick Conversation. How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Awesome.
Yeah. So I feel like we have a disadvantage because I know y'all on a personal level. And y'all part of my circle. But again, we just gonna have some girlfriend conversation on this evening. And I was just sharing with those who have checked in about the book that we have been walking through for the month of August. And just the whole process of healing and how important it is for us as Black women to heal through our shit, if I can say that. Because that's how sometimes I talk on High Heels and Lipstick Conversation. But Cheryl, let's start with you because I want you to share your testimony. You have a very powerful testimony about some of the things that you have experienced trauma wise, and just kind of a little bit about how you got through that process. Share with us. Let's start the conversation that way.
Thank you so much, Nemia, for having me on. And greetings to you, Dr. Trevaugh, and everybody out there. So, a little bit about me. I have learned how to heal well. And what that means for me is being surrounded by gold friends, being surrounded by family that really truly care about me. Part of my story is I grew up in a dysfunctional home, like some of us, and my parents were functioning alcoholics. I went to Catholic school all my life. Um, of course, through that, my grades suffered.
Mm-hmm.
Um, was I was I smart? Absolutely. But through all the trauma that I saw in my household, it brought me to a place of just being, it's existing
Mm-hmm.
in a fairy tale land. I would always say I was bullied. I saw a lot of traumatic things in my household. Mother and father would fight all the time. I was a latchkey kid, so I had the key around my neck, and you get on the
Mm-hmm.
bus, and you get off the bus, and you come home, and you call me as soon as you get through the door, and all that. Parents loved me fine. Everything was, um, well with me.
Mm-hmm.
But when they got together, it was traumatic because they were, again, functioning alcoholics.
Uh-huh.
And they, they loved each other. They were products of their own, of their environments, from
Yeah.
their parents went through, what they experienced. And so they just didn't they just didn't know what I was experiencing, seeing all this trauma
Yeah.
in the house, and not really understanding why I was such an introvert.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I grew up, in Catholic school, they would have these little seminars where they would try to, pull you to the side, say, "What's going on with you, little girl, little Black girl? What's going on?" and all of that. But they didn't really know how to handle Black problems,
Yeah. Real Black girl problems. Yeah.
real Black girl problems. And
Yeah.
so
And urban community problems.
yeah, they had no clue. Like, so my father, um, and all is well. Like, when my father passed away, like, all is forgiven and all that. But my father was a street guy, you know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
so, he probably had some bodies on him, you know what I'm saying? And so I was the baby girl. I was daddy's girl. And so he loved me to no end, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so through school, I would come home and I'm like, Daddy, I'm being bullied. I'm being bullied. He was like, I would ask him, can I fight? Can I fight? He was like, no, you can't fight. And so I would keep getting bullied and bullied. And one day he was like, yeah, you can fight. Go ahead. And so long story short, I went to school ready to fight and then ended up with this girl. She's now one of my best friends. And I said all that to say is that you gotta go through your process. You just never know how things are going to turn out.
That's right.
I went through all that trauma, all the way through high school, all the way in college, and in my 50s, really dealing with what happened to me, what I saw, what I experienced in my 50s. And I
Yeah.
asked God, why is this happening now?
Right. So while you're going through your process of healing.
Yes.
So like let's ask the question. Did you realize the traumas you had? Or did you have to come to a place where you realized the traumas you had? I'm sure that was a whole process within itself.
Absolutely.
Or how did you come to that?
Well, I got married.
Mm-hmm.
And I was married for 23 years. We were in the church and we climbed the success ladder in the church.
Mm-hmm.
We were ordained several times. When they saw us coming, we looked like money. We looked very prestigious, but we both were hurting on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
He had issues on his side. I had issues on my side that I never even thought to even address. I just wanted the white picket fence, the dog in the yard, and the perfect marriage.
Yeah.
He was a habitual cheater. He cheated on me at least twice a year for 23 years.
Mm-hmm.
I fought for my marriage. I prayed for him because I knew that it was not necessarily him per se, but it was like the spirit working in him. He was still a child. Um, and nobody really had the courage to address his issues.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
we're taught that too in the
Yes.
church, right? Because I got some church members probably checking in, some folks that love the Lord and check in, but we're often taught that
Pray.
to pray about it. And
Put
that's it.
oil on your shoes.
We don't teach Jesus and therapy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when we got married, we had 2 counseling sessions, and that was it. And it was like very surface. It was nothing deep, nothing detailed or anything. So we got married. I went through all that. I prayed about it. And then one day I decided enough is enough. I'm tired and let's move on. So I moved on. I moved on into relationships. So now I'm going to start dating, right?
Right.
Okay. So I started dating and I'm like, okay, this is nice and this is different. Well, I started to attract men that had similarities like my father.
The daddy issues. The book talks about the daddy issues.
The drinking, the narcissistic attitude. So I'm thinking, well, maybe it's me. Maybe it's my fault that it's how I am is, I'm in these bad relationships. I had a bad marriage. Now I'm in these other relationships and they're bad. What's wrong with me? So I had to do some soul searching myself because it's not always about the other person.
Right. Yeah.
I had to go within myself and say, okay, what is it about you, Cheryl, that is attracting this type of behavior and why are you accepting it? It was because of my childhood. This is what I'm used to. This is all I know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so important. So Mr. Miller, my Mr., checked in and said God has a way of showing us light on subjects. So God has a way of showing us ourselves sometimes.
Yes.
And we feel that are not worthy. We build through understanding. So yeah, God will give us understanding about ourselves if you're open to that. If you're open to that. So you definitely got to look within, as Lori says. You got to look within. And that's the only way you're going to get on the other side of it. So you have to be self-aware, right? We've all, and I said this last week. So We have all been impacted by something.
Mhm.
We've all taken on a trauma in one way or another. What and this is not, necessarily playing the race card or anything like that, but what's unique about us as Black women and our experiences is that we have the whole systematic oppression and everything else in the way that society has um, the light that society has shown us in, and all that compounds on the
Yes.
trauma. You know,
Yes.
we're
Yes.
all culturalized and socialized in different way, and so that kind of compounds the trauma. But the one thing that you talked about in the very beginning before you shared that you came to your self awareness was about um, community
Yes.
or having people around you. And
Yes.
so that is one of the things that the book talks about. So speak to us. And then I also want to get your perspective as well, Dr. Trevaugh, how important it is to have community and the right people around you. Genesis also said we're not taught to talk about things like
That's right.
trauma. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So for my community, I always believe, they always used to say it takes a village, right? So
Yeah.
the community of friends, I've always been wise enough to understand that I'm not going to talk to somebody about something that does not have a solution for the problem.
Yeah.
So I'm fortunate enough to have good friends around me, pastors, a number of people around me that I could talk to and get some good advice. Um, and again, they would always say, go through your process. It's okay. You're not the only one that's going through this. You're not the only one that has been a victim of domestic violence. You're not the only one that has had parents that were fighting and doing all these things. And so I'm like, well, why did I why did it have to just happen now where I came to the realization of I need some help?
Mm-hmm.
So when I came to that realization, I said, okay, I'm gonna go get me some therapy, you know. I'm gonna pray. I'm going to talk to someone, some people that have experienced some of these other things that I've
Mm-hmm.
experienced as well. And that's where the community for me came from, because
Yeah.
it was an enlightening, because I was like, okay, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you go through things, you feel like you're alone, and you're
Yeah.
not. You know, I've even talked to someone even younger than myself and said, sis, I've been that way where you are. And I'm like, well, why did it have to happen to me when I turned 50 years old?
Yeah.
You know, but I had to go through my process. I had to go through my journey. And all of the things that I've gone through has made me better
Yes.
and made me greater and made me wiser. And so there's a scripture in the
Made
Bible.
you freer.
Okay,
Yes.
it talks about to glory in tribulation.
Yeah.
So I take that for me as all of those things were stepping stones for me to get to where I am today. Healed. I'm not a victim anymore.
Yes.
I'm a victorious woman. I have businesses. I have things going on, and I look back and I'm like, okay, now it's my time to help somebody else.
That's right.
Yeah.
Amen. Lori says your community should hold you accountable
Yes.
and know your triggers so they can catch you before you fall or know where to help you. How true is that, Dr. Trayvon, in your professional expertise because you own Nzinga Mind and Heart, and so you speak to women, to people, period, men, women, boy, child, girl, who are overcoming their traumas every day.
Mhm.
So, how important is community to have around you as you go through your healing process?
Absolutely. So, I talk a lot about taking care of yourself and putting yourself first, and not to feel guilty about doing that. And so when you guys think about self-care, somebody mentions self-care to you, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear self care? Somebody answer in the chat. When you hear self care, we want to give you an opportunity to share that. When you hear self-care, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Sometimes it's a little slow on my end, but
Okay.
we'll give an opportunity for people to share. Um, because we've said before, and even I had to correct myself on this. Um, Lori says my mental health.
Okay.
Sometimes we think hair, nails, spa day.
Mhm.
Melanie
Exactly.
says peace.
Exactly. Right. So when we think about most people, when you think about self-care, it is the physical sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exercising, eating
Mm-hmm.
better, even connected, the mental health, going on a vacation or staycation or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is that you're deciding to do. But there's about 7 or 8 areas of self-care, actually.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't revolve just around your physical care. That
Mm-hmm.
said, one of the areas is space and environment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about environment. We're talking about the people who are in your environment, as
Mm-hmm.
well as your physical environment, your space, the clutter, the junk, the
Mm-hmm.
stacks of paper like that are behind me.
Uh-huh.
Right? So your environment includes the people that you listen to. It includes social media. It includes
Yes.
the news and what you are taking in. So it is so very, very important that you cultivate an environment, right? Or AKA community, like
Uh-huh.
we said, that is supportive of you and what you need. Okay. So we have to be careful because we get caught up in the trap of, going to the nail salon or going to work and
Mm-hmm.
taking all of the stuff in, especially if you are an empath or you're a caregiver
Yes.
caring for other people, we carry those things away with us. Okay.
Yeah.
Even if you were able to figure out something positive to reframe their thoughts on a particular perspective, you are still walking away with a piece of what they dropped into your spirit.
Yeah. Especially if that's a newer term, the empath, but if
Yeah.
you soak in I call it just soaking in other
You
people's
soak in
energy.
other people's
Yeah.
energy. There are those of us who actually just soak in other people's
Yeah.
energy, and we were born that way.
Yeah.
There are 3 of them on this particular call. I'm not sure if it's a Pisces thing or what it is,
It is.
but it's real, right? And
Yeah.
so you're soaking in. So you have to be very careful about your environment, okay, aka your community at
Yeah.
all times. So
Yeah.
you want to have a supportive community, one that challenges you. Someone in your chat mentioned
Yeah.
about holding you accountable. So
Yeah.
somebody who holds you accountable in love, not
Yeah.
competition,
Yep.
not stabbing you in the back while they're giving you hugs. Okay.
Yes, child.
Mhm.
Okay.
Listen, we
So,
got to talk about that.
Okay,
okay.
come on.
All right.
We got to talk about that, ladies, because women, black women, we don't like to be held accountable on our shit.
Mm-mm.
We do not like to face that we sometimes bring the drama.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it, again, this is about trauma and healing past our trauma. We don't like to admit that the drama that we bring is linked to the trauma that we have yet to overcome.
That's
Exactly.
right. That's so true.
And
Exactly.
you need people around you, especially when you are trying to get to a better place mentally, spiritually, what have you. You need people around your community that'll say, sis, no, that's not it.
Not it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not it. And then you have to be willing to accept that feedback.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking to the individual who is providing the feedback,
Yeah.
make sure you are providing it in love. Search
Yeah.
yourself before you give it. Make sure you're not projecting some of your own experiences and trauma onto somebody else, because that
That's
belongs to
true.
you. That doesn't
Yeah.
belong to me.
That's
That's
right.
true.
That was your experience. So you have to do some searching of yourself on both sides, as the giver and the receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mister, I know what he talking about. He said, "Hell no, y'all don't." He talking about women don't like to take accountability. Um, Sis Nicole says definitely accountability. You have to take accountability in that, but it does matter again what you said, how the message is delivered from those who are holding you accountable. I just want to read this quick little excerpt from, again, the book that we digested this month, Nijiama Smalls. She talks about positive friends. Positive friends are just as vital as positive thoughts. Over the years, I've drained myself with friends that love to gossip, as they say, the dog that brings a bone carries a bone. I learned that the hard way. I have also drained myself with friends that caused trouble, friends that really didn't care if my family or I lived or died, friends that consistently made poor decisions, friends that did not appreciate me as a person or a friend. They competed against me and would throw slight shade. Bad friendships affected my thought life and how I behave, because you're digesting the wrong stuff. They ain't telling you the right thing. They told me what I wanted to hear, gave me bad advice, held grudges, and were jealous of me and everyone else around. One of the things I have learned is that when people are jealous, sometimes they will do things to quietly sabotage you in anything you're trying to achieve. And she says some other stuff, but you're sabotaging yourself by keeping negative friends. Negative friends spread their toxicity like a plague. And so,
And I
again,
just want to add, and this is Dr. Trevaugh's words, it's all the time, not sometimes. Because individuals who are just, sometimes they don't even know what they are doing. They
sometimes it's their trauma, right?
sometimes it's
Yeah.
their trauma.
Yeah.
They don't even have a clue
Yeah.
with that they are being selfish, that they are being hurtful. There are those manipulators who were that is their goal. That's what they set out to do in the beginning, to manipulate,
Mm-hmm.
to get the things that they're. But there are some people who don't even recognize that they are jealous,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and that's because
manipulation.
they've not dealt with their own insecurities. Because your jealousy is about you, it's not about me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. And they have to; those kinds of individuals have to come to their own process,
Yeah.
their own healing
Yeah.
process. Um, so you let's go back to Cheryl. So you talked about, you had people around you who held you accountable.
Yeah.
And it's important for us, as we are going through the healing process, to be held accountable, to be aware, self aware.
Mhm.
Let's talk about your own internal process of how you release. Like, what were some of the things that you experienced in your traumas that you became self aware of? And then, how did, in going through the healing process, how did you counteract those behaviors?
Um, I found out that I was an empath.
Yeah.
And so I had to really search out to see what that really consisted of. Because
Mm-hmm.
in my mind, I'm like, well, I'm just a nice person.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
just love on everybody.
love everybody. I want to help everybody.
And
You
you do. You
know,
do.
and I'm like, well, they could never be so cruel to hurt me. Why would they do that to me?
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was living in la la land. And
Yeah.
sometimes, some of us Pisces do. We be out there somewhere,
We want everybody to be happy around us. Yeah.
all the time. And
Yeah.
then there are some people out here that just really do not like you. I had to understand, like, everybody don't like you, Cheryl.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, but why? I
Yeah.
love everybody. Well,
Yeah.
everybody does not think like that.
Right.
So I have to give them their space to be who they are. You know, no shade or anything like that. But I'm not for everybody.
Yeah.
I had to
Oh
learn.
yeah.
I have a small circle of friends that I call true friends. Um, and I'm fine with that. Am I
Mm-hmm.
open to new friendships? Absolutely. But guess what? That is not my end all to be all, just to have a lot of friends to say, hey, I
Yeah.
got 35 friends.
Yeah.
No, so I had to search within myself to say, okay, why do you feel like you're an empath? Why, where did that come from, first of all? And then um fall in love with myself.
Oh yeah, that's a
Who
good
is
one.
Cheryl? What does she like? What does self-love look like for her? What does, boundaries look like for her?
Mhm.
And that's what I had to come to the realization of, that I was not setting up boundaries. I allowed myself, my heart, to just be open, and
Yeah. So any
and
and everybody.
yeah, to be a
Yeah.
doormat.
And here's the thing, when you are that way, sometimes you know spirits will be attracted to that. The
Absolutely.
wrong spirits will find that attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Manipulative spirits.
Yeah.
Um, you
Because they'll be
know,
like, she's a good, well, some guys will be like, she's a good girl. So, yeah, let me, maybe knowing Dr. Trevaugh and unknowing, attracted to someone like that, like an empath, and use that to their advantage.
mhm,
And I have found myself being a doormat in those situations. Like, I don't really think the person really meant to hurt me, but
mhm,
because of no boundaries, because of not knowing who I am, who I was, to myself, I allowed myself to be open. My spirit was just open, and I
right.
and I just allowed just whatever, because I thought this is how it was supposed to be. Because this is all
Right.
I knew. This is all I saw.
Yeah.
So through my journey, I'm still learning how to set up boundaries. I'm
Yeah.
still learning how to say no. I'm
Yeah.
still learning how to choose my battles.
Yeah. Dr. Trayvon, is that common? Because we put the term empath and it's just Pisces. That's how we are. Because we all Pisces on here. Yeah, you see how I connect with all my Pisces chicks. But that's just part. Some of it is part of our character. We're soft hearted.
Mhm.
We want to make everybody feel better, sometimes at the risk of our own selves, our own feel better. But is that common, you think, in women, people, period, that have gone through some type of trauma, from your perspective?
So it's very extremely common with individuals who are survivors of abuse,
Mm-hmm.
especially childhood abuse and trauma,
Mm-hmm.
because they've had no agency over themselves and their decision.
Yeah.
They had to. They were forced to um take what was given to them. So if it was physical abuse, if it was sexual abuse, you couldn't say no. And if you did say no, it resulted in this. So that individual was conditioned to accept whatever was thrown at me, whatever scraps that I was given, whatever the individual decided to do, say to me. Um, that was conditioned from a child for individuals or children who have experienced abuse of any type. Okay,
Oh.
so whether that's verbal, psychological, especially sexual abuse,
Mm-hmm.
because again, what do we have? What do we own? Even from a small child is your body, your space, my
Mm-hmm.
personal space. But when we're talking about somebody violating my body, and I can't tell you to stop. I don't like that you are putting your hand there or forcing me to put my mouth there. You are
Yeah.
learning at that point that I must accept whatever is thrown my way. I don't have a voice. I've shrunken into myself. Have no agency over my body. So that
So if I say no, then that triggers something. I don't want to feel, receive the ramifications of me
of
saying no
saying
to
no,
that person. Yeah.
right?
Right. Yeah.
Because when we're talking about people who groom children, they're typically using like a parent or loved one. If you tell somebody they're not going to let me come around you anymore. If you tell somebody, I'm gonna kill your mother, if you tell somebody, I'm gonna kill your dog, if you tell, so that is the reason why children who have been trained, who have parents who are taking care of them and doing the best that they can, don't say anything to their parents because they're afraid. So those children want to make sure that their parents remain safe. So I have to do this so that I can remain, so that my parents can remain safe, or protect my sister, or protect my little brother, because if I do it, then they won't bother them. So you're learning at that point and being conditioned to accept whatever is thrown at you. Okay. It
So is
really
it that?
affects your self-esteem,
Yeah,
self-confidence, right? What
yeah,
you feel about yourself, your self-image.
yeah.
So, and that just carries on into adulthood.
And that is that same conditioning, even in a case like Cheryl, who has been through a domestic violence situation.
Same situation
It's
with
the
domestic
same
violence.
concept. You're being conditioned to not say no.
And she's learned how to be silent when she was a child.
Yeah.
We were learned in our culture, and I'll speak for myself, and what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
What
You talk
happens in
about
this
what
house
happens
stays
in
in
this
this house.
household.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
So
Yeah.
you're gonna pray about it, and we're gonna sweep it under the rug.
That's it.
Yeah.
Dr. Trevaugh, the therapist, is here to tell you it is okay to pray about it. My and I may have mentioned this to you guys when I was on before. My mother had surgery a couple of weeks ago. Four days before the surgery, I started praying for the surgeon, his wife, because I don't want them arguing. The
Yes.
nurses who gonna be in the room, all of that stuff, right? You
Right.
prayed about it, but she still went to the surgery. Okay, so it
Yes.
is okay to pray about it and to have a therapist.
Yeah.
You got to do something.
Jesus and therapy.
You can have
You
Jesus,
got to have it.
and I'm a therapist that I'll pray with you before and after.
Yeah.
Listen, and then give you them tools.
I'm gonna give you the tools and the scripture. That's what you want.
Right.
So it's okay to have both.
Yeah. Is that part of your story? Was it Cheryl, for you healing and seeking therapy? Because again, you said something that's very poignant, and we even made this remark last week, Trayvon, that our culture, Black women, we do not seek out there. We'll tell our girlfriends who don't know Jack, they just as messed up as we. They didn't been through. They grew up in the hood just like us, and they got the same traumas, bad relationships. But we'll tell them. This is no diss against pastors. If there's any pastors, we'll go to our pastor, and they are good. They can give us spiritual counsel, but they cannot give us all. They can't always give us the tools that are necessary for us to heal. They can't give us the blueprint. They can give us a scripture that talks about the Lord and breaks it down, and we need that. But it's Jesus and therapy.
Let me just say this. Jesus gave us the example in the beginning. He started out by feeding the individuals first with the bread and the fish. He took care of their human needs. They could not hear the scripture. They couldn't hear the word. He couldn't come to the hungry people who needed something in their physical body and start out with the word. I mean, he could have. He was Jesus. He could do whatever he wanted to, right? But he didn't. Jesus gave us an example in the scripture that you guys have to take care of the man first before you can hear the other part.
Yeah, you need to take care of what they need first.
Yes.
The nourishment that they need. And for a lot of us ladies and gentlemen, because I got some brothers that are checking in. My brother Tone said, great combo, ladies. This is real talk. It's real talk. Like I told you, if you come into High Heels and Lipstick conversation and you're looking for an argument between Black men and Black women, you're not going to get it here. That's not what we do here. We don't demean and diminish our men. I'm married to a Black man, so there's no way I could get on this platform and start to diminish men or make this a platform was us against them. But you is gonna get real conversation. You is. I said you is. I'm taking it back. Yeah, I know it's you are, but I'm saying you is tonight. You is gonna get real conversation. Because these are the conversations that we need. And we're gonna be honest, even from our perspective. But Cheryl, tell us about your combination of spiritual and any professional help that you sought out to help you to get past your healing? How important was that for you?
I do want to talk about this because I do come up from a spiritual background. And in church, sometimes, you know, the pastor will say, well, go talk to the first lady. Okay. And so when you're talking to the first lady might not be qualified to help you. Okay. So what I had to learn is, you know, in religious settings, yes, they'll give you a scripture. They'll, we'll pray for you. I pray for people on the altar. They come back every week with the same problem over and over and over again. It's only so many scriptures I'm going to be able to give you unless you do the work yourself.
Yes.
Okay. So let me just say this. I was involved in a deliverance ministry. And if you know anything about deliverance ministry, it's pretty much hands-on, and we're laying hands and we're praying for you, and we're going in hard in the paint for you, But sometimes in church, we get so caught up in the theatrics of church.
Yes.
We know how to act, we know how to shout, we know how to buck, we know how to do all of those things. And I found myself, because I was ordained a pastor, and I found myself at the altar full of people every week. One young lady came up to me and she said, "Hey, I'm suffering from this topic." And I said, "Cool." I began to pray for her. She began to, hands up, we going hard, Black church, right? I said, "Hold on, stop. Stop doing all that. Look at me. I want to know what you're going to do tomorrow."
Yeah.
Because you come
after the
here
shouting's
every week.
done.
You come here every week with the same problem, and it's okay. I'm going to give you some scriptures, but I want to get with you tomorrow. What can we do? What can I do to help you walk you through this? I asked my leader, I said, "Hey, listen, you ordained me a pastor, okay? Can you give us some more tools to help these people?" Because when it comes to Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, they still going through the same thing. That means that it's something else besides a scripture that they need to do. There is a made up mind to say, "You know what? I can't do this no more. So what? I'm going to therapy. I'm gonna stop doing it." You got to make up something. You have to go through your process. So for me, I had to come to myself and say, "Okay, I got the scriptures. I got that. I can eat, breathe, eat, sleep, speak it all day long." But I needed some outside help. I needed some professional help, somebody that went to school. Okay. God made us to have, he said, "Greater work shall you do," right? So he created, they're doctors. He made doctors. He gave us education so we can go to school and learn how to be a Dr. Trevaugh, right? So I had to go and say, "You know what? I'm a take this leap of faith and go outside the church and get me some clinical help."
Yeah.
I sat on the couch and I said, "Listen, this is my story." She wrote it down. She combed through it. I went back week after week after week after week, and I kept asking, "Am I crazy?" Because they say, therapy is taboo, right?
Yeah.
It was taboo. I'm like, "Okay, am I crazy? Are you gonna give me some meds?" I'm not taking any meds. It was nothing. It was not about any of that. It was about me really going back through all those memories, journaling, praying, having some peace, and saying, "Okay, I can deal with this issue now. Now I know why I act the way I act, why I choose different things in my life, because I feel like it's like a security blanket."
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So those things, I just kind of wanted to address, because there's nothing wrong with church. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, because I'm a believer myself.
Yes.
But sometimes you have to go outside the church to get what you need sometimes, as far as your mental health is concerned.
Yes.
Spiritual health, mental health.
Yeah, they're two separate things.
They're two separate things.
Two
You're not
separate things.
Medical help. You go to a doctor, you go to a dentist.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
just like the example that I gave, I'm praying for the doctor and the dentist before I walk in the door.
Absolutely. But I got to have a made up mind to say, okay, I got to go to the dentist and get these teeth fixed.
Yeah, because it's hurting me. My tooth is hurting.
Right.
It's
I'm
hurting.
gonna lay hands on it.
Right.
I'm going to go to the doctor so I get this tooth pulled.
Rashonda says, we are hoarders when it comes to our problems. We bring it to the altar, and before we leave church, we go back and pick it right back up and take it back home.
Absolutely.
With us. Yeah, we projected it. And listen, when we have those traumas, we project it on our home, the people in our home. When we marry, we project it on our spouses, our husbands. For those of us who are wives, we project it on our friendships, our friend circle. We projected in the workplace.
Yes.
That whole competition thing, and it's such a layered conversation. But yeah, sometimes we need to, back to your point, Cheryl, sometimes we need to admit that we need the scripture, we need the Lord, but
Absolutely.
we need some tools too. We need to,
And for me, I had to have some self-reflection, Nemia, Dr.
yeah.
To sit down with Cheryl and say, what's really going on with you?
Yeah. And that mirror is scary, right?
Yes. And I had to have patience with myself. Like I have patience for everybody else being an empath. I had to have patience for Cheryl.
You have to forgive Cheryl too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You forgive everybody else, you got to forgive yourself.
Mom. I had to forgive my dad. I had to forgive my ex-husband. I had to forgive all the other relationships.
Listen, I say this all the time, and I've shared this in my testimony when I've shared my own experiences. I have had some experiences for a lot of women. It shapes their outlook on relationships and how they feel about men.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very strong. I'm very opinionated. That's just part of who I am. You can ask my mama. I always said what I felt was on my mind. And I've, always held a strong opinion about things. I'm learning that you have to operate a little differently in marriage. But I've had some experiences that have shaped my trauma and could have, if I did not want to be released from it, if I did not want to be that angry Black woman, if I did not want to be the chick that walked around and all niggas ain't ish, if I did not want to be her, then I had to get past some of the traumas.
Absolutely.
And I had to recognize that they were there. And I had to recognize that if I didn't deal with it, then I would stay stuck there and I would be that angry Black woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And just learning from all of that, Nemia, even in relationships moving forward in dating, it's a different respect for me now for men than I had before.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I get them, how some of them say different things and whatever. I get it. But there's a totally different respect for men for me now in the dating world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you healed
well.
Heal. You gotta heal.
Heal well.
Yeah, yep. They're not all bad.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely.
It's just a process. It's a journey, right? Well, we could probably talk about that all day long, but it's just a process, a journey. One of the other things, and we'll wrap our conversation up soon, but one of the other things that the author talks about in her book is healing through love. And she says, I am convinced that we do not live our best lives until we embrace love. Love for God, love for self, and love for others. And that love for others is not being naive, but it's just, it goes back to that positive, the energy that you put out. I am a strong believer that whatever you put out into the atmosphere, the energy that you put out will return to you. So if you put out a lot of negativity and drama and all that, that is exactly what you're going to receive back.
Yeah.
If you put out a lot of gossip and all this, that is exactly what you're going to receive back in return. And so, um, love is kind of at the crux of how you help yourself to heal through or take you through the process. And so she goes into almost like a little Bible study child. She goes into breaking down First Corinthians 13, 1 through 13. But she also says part of the problem is that we do not love God and we do not love ourselves, especially in today we think we love ourselves because we have the false pretense of love for ourselves, and sometimes we're a victim to we as women we cute, we take our selfies and all that and we post it on social media, and then the inside we torn up. But the Bible commands us to love our neighbor as ourselves. If we do not love ourselves, we can't possibly love others. So if you don't feel good about self in the inside, if you don't get past the traumas that you've accumulated, which leads to the low self esteem that you talked about, Dr. Trayvon, it's going to be hard for you to love other folks. It's going to be hard for you to forgive other folks. You're going to project that on to other folks. So she just says that, loving yourself shows in your actions. If a person truly loves themselves, they don't do certain things irresponsibly. They don't abuse themselves, or and they don't abuse others. Just a whole self-reflection about love and our ability to show love. And some people get that word mixed up. Sometimes we think loving on folks means that we are supposed to be the doormat that you talked about, Cheryl. It's not that. It's just exuding a characteristic that God has ascribed and subscribed to us. And so it helps in the healing process.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The other thing is that you will continue to have issues with relationships, both romantic relationships and relationships with friends, because you won't properly know how to articulate what it is that you want and need, right?
Mhm.
And so then you are relying on the other person to either pull it out of the air and just know it, or you go back into that position of victim where you are just accepting whatever is thrown your way. So I can't properly articulate to Nemia and Cheryl what boundaries I've set for you guys as friends, what
Mm-hmm.
we will talk about, won't talk about, how you address me, how I address you, what time you can call my phone. You know what I'm saying? If
Right.
I've not set those boundaries and I don't know them for myself. So how can I expect for you to know that if I don't know it for myself? So you've got to get in tune, in touch with yourself, learn
Yeah.
to love yourself, realize and recognize, understand what the non-negotiables are.
Yeah.
This
Yep.
is not negotiable.
Yeah.
That I can negotiate with you on. This I cannot. So if
Yeah.
that's an issue for you, let's go ahead and deal with it now.
Yeah.
But if you've not done the work, you will not be able to articulate that to another person. And it is unfair to them because
Yeah.
now you're expecting them to mind read. And that's
Yeah.
not okay.
We're putting our happiness, our joy,
Mhm.
our healing on other people.
You're correct. You're making it their responsibility, and it is not. You are responsible for yourself.
Yeah.
Married, not married, single, in a relationship, same sex or other. You need to be responsible for your own happiness. It is unfair for you to place that responsibility solely on somebody else's shoulders. That's unfair.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Mina says you have to acknowledge the trauma before you can get past it. Healing is not a linear process. It's not
That's so
just,
good.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
good.
It's going to have peaks and valleys, and sometimes you're going to be up, sometimes you're going to be down.
Yeah.
But this is one thing I did learn from my pastor. In our journeys, you will have the peaks and valleys, the ebbs and the flows, and every day is not going to be a joyous occasion, a joyous day. Sometimes you're going to be triggered, but the goal is that you're always progressing. And so, even though you have the peaks and valleys, even on the peaks and valleys, you should be climbing higher. And so, you know, until you get to a point where you're just on a smooth plateau.
Yeah.
And so yeah, healing is ours. Listen, this has been a very fruitful, and we could probably talk a long time, just because we go friends, and we get it in with each other too. But I wanna kind of end with this thought and then get your reaction as it relates to the healing process, and then I want to give you both an opportunity to talk about some events, Cheryl, event that you have coming up. In honor of Cindy's Girl Foundation, I want you to talk about Cindy Girl, and then tell us about your Arise event. And then first I want to give Trayvon an opportunity to talk about Nzinga Mind and Heart. But I want to get your reaction from this. The author says, I love the scene from the movie Waiting to Exhale. We know that movie very well. When the main protagonists, Bernadine, Robin, Gloria, and Savannah, are having a girls' night in. During this scene, after one too many glasses of champagne, Savannah, played by the late, great Whitney Houston, says, the one man that I love is married with kids. Y'all remember that scene? She's like, the one man that I love is married with kids. Y'all remember that scene? Um, and the ladies, tipsy as all get out, giggle and continue to discuss their own frustrations with their men. This scene represents true sisterhood. It represents transparency with no judgment, no ridicule, no side eyes, just love, support, and laughter. When that type of support is present in your life, regardless of what troubles you experience, you know it's going to be okay because you know you are surrounded by unconditional love, a sisterhood. For me, I am blessed to have you ladies. I am blessed to have my day ones. We call ourselves Gigi's. I am blessed, and that is so important as we talk about community again. Just going back, it's so important to have those kinds of people around you as you heal. That's going to say, "Oh, girl, I know how you feel, but sis," or just give us that extra boost that we need. So, what is your reaction to that individually? How do you feel about that scenario? We'll start with Cheryl and then Dr. Trayvon.
I feel that you can just be transparent with your friends. Your feelings are real. You know, in that particular scenario, her feelings are real. I love that man.
Yeah.
Okay, girl, you love him, but you can't have him. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you got to be able to take it. That it's coming from a good place where your friend is telling you, okay, that's your feelings, but I need you to let that go because that ain't your man. He married. You move around. I remember a conversation I had with you, Nemia, and you asked me, and you said to me, you said, what do you say? Are you living or are you survive? What did you say?
Yeah. I said, are you living or are
Uh-huh.
you just surviving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you have that community of friends, those gold friends, those good friends that can challenge you and ask you questions to make you think, to make you come back to yourself,
Mhm.
that's important. That
Yeah.
is important because we're joking around all the time and hey girl, I still love him. Okay, boo, but no ma'am.
Right. But here's the real about it. Yeah.
Right, you be like, oh, okay, you're right. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So that's
Right.
how I look at it because if it's not said, then it doesn't come from a pure place. You're gonna let me go ahead and still like this guy because he married with kids. You gonna agree with that? No, you're not gonna agree with it. You're gonna correct me with it if you're my good friend, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Because you have to, because it's for your good. Right.
absolutely,
Right.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right.
Well,
Yeah, you have to be open. I think that you have to the space has to be set where it's safe enough for you able to be vulnerable, and
Mhm.
also safe enough for you to be able to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay? So that is your relationships with your friends, that is relationships with your significant others, okay?
Mhm.
So the space the foundation, the environment has to be safe enough in order for you to be honest, right? And to
Yeah.
be able to share your feelings without fear of being ridiculed.
Yeah.
But you also have to be willing and able to accept, like I said, the correction, the smack on the hand.
Mm-hmm.
A few weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, I had some health challenges, and I knew that I was going to get a phone call from some of these people on this chat right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
About, and they gave me a couple of days to, like, get stuff together, get things balanced out. But then they came back to spank my hand. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was something that I had to get used to. I knew it was coming. I didn't see it the first time it came from me. And as an individual who is typically the one who is spanking
Smacking the
hands
hands.
and redirecting, I
Yeah.
was like, because I want to, like, because I was caught off guard, right?
Yeah.
Because it was a new friendship, it was a new experience. And I was
Yeah.
like, but then you go back and you check yourself, like, no, sis, she was speaking the truth, right?
Yeah.
And so it requires, again, that going back to self-reflection, checking yourself, taking stock of yourself and your feelings. And
Yeah.
let me go ahead and help you out your feelings, but that's
Yeah.
not right what you're doing. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'll help you, but it's not right, at
Yeah.
the end of the day. So just being open, to hearing that. If that's not what you need to hear right that moment, I don't have a safe word, pineapples or whatever it is. Like,
Right.
look, this, I need you to feel my ego and let me know that I was right for going all the way in first, right?
Right.
Give me 5 minutes of that, and then you can spank my hand for saying, we're grown and sexy. We don't operate that way.
Yeah. We grown
Right.
and sexy. That's
That's right.
right. Yeah. So it's important to have support around you as you are healing. Um, we've said that it's important to have self awareness for your healing process. It is important to, have a good community, a good environment, what we take in mentally. All those things are important to our healing process. And so, Dr. Trayvon, this is something that you do on a daily basis. This is your world, right?
My word.
Helping people through their traumas and getting them on the other side of their traumas, giving them tools that are necessary to help them to get on the other side of their traumas with Nzinga Mind and Heart. So why don't you share, as we are kind of wrapping up the conversation, why don't you share a little bit more about Nzinga? I'm going to drop the link where if anybody is in need of her services, you can find out more about Nzinga Mind and Heart and the services that she provides. So go ahead and share with us all about
Thank
Nzinga.
you, gold friends. So Nzinga, I'm the owner and CEO of Nzinga Mind and Heart, which is a private practice where we provide behavioral health or mental health services to individuals that need some support. So I have myself and a team of 6 other clinicians who provide, again, mental health support to those who are in need. My particular niche are individuals who are caregivers.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy working with the individuals who don't typically have the space to talk about themselves and to
Mm-hmm.
say that they're tired and to say that they're scared. So when I say caregiver, I mean doctors, nurses, teachers, other therapists, pastors, ministers, those individuals who are in caregiving roles where they
Mm-hmm.
are responsible for others. Um,
Yeah.
that is my particular niche, helping them kind of process with that and learning how to care for themselves, not so that they can care for somebody else. So that has
Right.
been embedded in our brains. Oh, you got to take care of yourself so that you can be there to take care of your husband and your kids and your dog and your mama and your cousin. I'm not saying
Right.
that is not true, but
Right.
I want us to learn to take care of ourselves because we matter.
Yes.
That's it. And my needs are no less important than your needs. And
Yes.
so if you are in need of some support, or someone who is in need of some compassionate, competent support. I do supervise everybody on my team. Please reach out to us at nzingamindandheart.com.
NzingaHeartandMind.com.
Mind
That's where
and
you
heart.
can find her. Nzinga Mind and Heart. You see the website right there in the chat, and it's shared with you on screen. If you are looking, if you know someone or you yourself are looking for services, that's where you can find Dr. Trevaugh. Dr. Trevaugh, thank you. We always appreciate you. When you were here with me last, you were a fan favorite. People really liked your balanced perspective. So thank you. And Zinga Mind and Heart is where you can find her. I want you to hang out backstage.
Okay.
Just a minute, okay?
All right.
Thank Dr. Trevaugh for joining us once again. So, Cheryl, you have shared your powerful testimony on tonight, and your experience, and that only touched the surface. We probably could have been here for a little while longer talking about our traumas and getting on the other side of them. But for you, it has sparked purpose.
Yes.
It has sparked purpose with Cindy's Girl Foundation. I want you to talk to us a little bit about Cindy Girls Foundation, and then you have an event that's coming up that benefits Cindy Girls Foundation, and I want you to share with us about your event that's coming up. So I'm going to also post in chat where you can find Cindy's Girl Foundation online, but speak to us about Cindy's Girl Foundation in particular.
So I have found my purpose and my destiny. And so I, through COVID, came up with Cindy's Girls Foundation, which is a 501c3 organization, and is dedicated to my mom, who was a victim of domestic violence and also breast cancer survivor.
Mm-hmm.
She passed away with breast cancer. And so it's dear to my heart. So God just gave me the vision. I wrote it, made it plain, and here it is today. I am super excited about it. We're helping so many people. We launched it last year. We had a beautiful luncheon last year. We gave away awards. It was like our breakout. It was jam packed. Tickets sold out. So this year, I decided I wanted to do a gala.
Uh-huh.
The gala is going to be at the Avalon. Well, let me go back for a few minutes. Cindy's Foundation. So it's called Cindy's Girls because any friend of mine was a friend of my mom. So
Uh-huh.
if I said, oh, that's Nemia, she said, oh, that's my girl. And so that's why everybody's called Cindy's Girls. And so what we do, we bring awareness to domestic violence and breast cancer. So this year we are having a gala and we're raising money um, for several different things. This year we are adopting a school, which is dear to my heart. And it speaks a lot about the trauma that I went through. And so because of that, I want to help someone else. So when I was in school, my uniforms weren't the cleanest. And so I can sympathize with the kids now, and they're dear to my heart. It just hurts my heart just to know that it's a school here in Northwest Indiana that they have such a poverty-stricken environment, and the kids, their uniforms are dirty. And so we are going to get them a washer and dryer this year for this particular school. We're going to get them uniforms, school supplies, and all of those things that they need. And I am so passionate about that. I almost like want to just burst out into tears because I am excited about just pulling up to the school, giving them the washer and dryer, giving them those uniforms. It's going to be so amazing. Also, because of the breast cancer initiative that we have, my mom passed away with breast cancer. So this year, we're going to honor a breast cancer survivor. She has had a double mastectomy. And we are going to get her some, because of the trauma that she's gone through, we're going to give her some therapy. I'm excited about that. So Nzinga is going to be a big part of that initiative as well. And then we have 3 domestic violence survivors that are going back into the workforce. So we are giving them a mind shift makeover. And I'm so geeked about
What's that mind shift makeover?
mind shift makeover. So, because of their trauma, they are going to receive clinical therapy. Okay. They're
Yes.
going to receive business coaching because they're going to go back into the workforce. So the business coaching, we're going to walk them through resume writing. We're going to walk them through interviewing via online, also in person. We're going to rehearse it. We're going to make sure that they get it down pat. We are also going to give them life coaching. So I am a certified life coach now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so what that means is that I'm going to walk them all the way through their process to
Yeah.
make sure that they are going to heal well. So they're going to
Yes.
heal well by getting all of the therapy. They're going to heal well by getting the business coaching, and they're going to heal well by life coaching. So we're going to go through a series of things. We also have on board with us a team of hairstylists,
Yeah.
photographers, photographers, nail tech, and we are going to just ship them. They're going to be at the Rise Gala. You're not going to know who they are.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that specifically. She's talking about the
Yes,
Arise Gala. So, all the efforts
yes,
that she is talking about, how we're going to honor breast cancer survivor, we're going to honor these women who have survived domestic violence. All this is happening at Arise Gala, a
yes.
night of inspiration, October 14th
14th. Yes,
this year at Avalon. If you are in the Northwest Indiana area, it is happening at 6 p.m. Talk to us about Arise because you got some special guests. It's going to
yes,
be a night of elegance. It
yes.
goes to support Cindy Foundation and all the efforts that you're doing. Talk to us a little bit about
We're
Arise.
gonna have some fun. So Miyoshi Knox is when you meet her, you're just gonna just be smiling all night long. She is such an inspirational person. So she's gonna be our MC for the evening. We have our very own from Gary, Indiana, Butter the Preacher. He is has an
Yeah.
awesome testimony. It's not gonna be churchy, but we're going to sit down and we're going to actually talk and have some great conversation at the Arise Gala. So, ladies, men, you have been talking about, I don't have any place to go to put on my fine clothes. This is the
Put your
place to
good
be.
clothes on.
Put your good suit on, okay?
Yeah.
And come to the Arise Gala. It starts at 6 o'clock. We got DJ Tone, the strategist. He's going to be there to DJ.
Yeah.
We have a live band.
Yes, DJ Chong was in the comments a little while
Oh,
ago.
was he in
Yeah,
the
we love some
comments?
DJ Chong.
Yes.
There's a man in the house.
Yes. So, and we are actually going to honor DJ Tone's mom, which is Queen Toppin.
Yes.
She was one of the community, I could say, that helped me get to where I am today. I used to be very shy and introverted. So she took me out of that, got me into fashion, got me into modeling. And she's like, no, you're going to do this. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. And so here I am. So we are going to honor her. We are also going to honor Dr. Vanessa Allen McLeod.
Yes.
Because of what she's done in the community. So it's just going to be a night of inspiration. As soon as you walk in the door, you're going to be inspired.
Yeah.
As soon as you stand in the line and you go through and you enter into the building, into where we're going to actually have the gala, you're going to be inspired. So
Yes.
I want to see everyone, please. It's for a great cause. Come have a great time. We're going to dance. We're going to laugh. We're going to have a good time. Listen, you don't want to miss this gala. We're giving back to the children. We're giving back to breast cancer. We're giving back to domestic violence. This is my purpose. This is my destiny. And I'm super excited about it.
Yes. Your traumas sparked purpose. The Arise Gala, a night of inspiration. That's called taking your pain and turning it into purpose.
Yes, absolutely.
So there is another side of your healing process. Sometimes it takes us going through those things for God to reveal to us purpose. But if you're going to be in the Northwest Indiana area, I think you need to be here. I already got a dress. I already know what I'm going to wear. But it is a night of inspiration. Again, that is October 14th this year, coming up not too long from now. So you got to start looking for you something to wear now. If you like me, 6 p.m. at Avalon. And you can purchase tickets tell us how they can purchase tickets. And I'm going to drop the link in the chat so people can learn
Yeah,
how they can purchase tickets
you
for a
can,
night of inspiration.
you can get them through Eventbrite. You can get them in person, and you can also visit my website at I am Cheryl D and get your tickets there, or you can go to cindygirlsfoundation.org and purchase your tickets on there. The tickets are $65 for general admission, and then VIP tickets are $95. Listen, all of your money is going to a great cause. It's going to help the children, and it's going to help these women to heal well.
Yeah, so you said I am Cheryl D. That is one place that you can find. You can get it on Eventbrite. If you just go to Eventbrite and you um, search for Arise Gala in Northwest Indiana, Maryville area, it will come right up. You can visit her website at I am Cheryl D. You can also visit Cindy's Girls Foundation. Listen, you have no excuse, ain't no excuse not to be able to purchase a ticket and come out for a good cause. We are going to have a good time. It's going to be good music. It's going to be food. It's going to be a good grown folks time. And you get to put on your clothes and look sexy and dress up while you're doing it. Like, don't we love that?
Red carpet too. So
right. Red carpet, all that. I'm going to be in the building. I'm going to be in the building.
Yes.
So, yes.
And thank you all. And thank you to all of our sponsors that have even given us money so far. Our heart is so full. Thank you so much for all that you're doing. And we really appreciate it.
Yes. So Melanie says, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yes.
Dr. Tanya is also my soror. Melanie's my soror. They're checking in. She says, awesome. So I really think it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a special event. I love the fact that you are giving to children who don't have the resources to support themselves or to keep clean clothes. Yeah. So we are donating washer and dryers to local area schools. That is a wonderful thing. We are honoring a breast cancer survivor, hence the month of October. We're honoring and providing support to women who are survivors of domestic violence in the month of October. It's a beautiful thing. I love it. Thank you, Cheryl D, for turning your pain into passion. Yes. Thank you for going through your process and giving us a testimony and an example of how we too can get on the other sides of our trauma. And just thank you for allowing your pain to become your purpose. So, yes. So thank you for this evening. I appreciate you. Hang out backstage for me just a little bit with Dr. Trevaugh, and I'm going to be with you ladies in just a short minute there. But I need you guys to put some kissy lips, some lipsticks, some high heels in the chat for my girls, Dr. Cheryl and Dr. Trevaugh, and just sharing their time on this evening. Listen, we have had a beautiful conversation. I have loved this. This is what it's all about. You know, we're not going to always talk about traumas and all that stuff. You know, we're going to switch up the conversation at times. For the month of September, we're going to do some community spotlights. I got something special also coming for you in the month of October. So I just think you need to, keep abreast of what's going on at She Is Nemia High Heels and Lipstick Conversations. Thank y'all for checking in on tonight. Genesis says, you ladies have a great night. Thanks for the invite. Melanie sends her kissies and her lipstick and high heels. And so again, we just thank you for tonight. I need you to share. If we had a great conversation on tonight, I need y'all to share this broadcast, share this live, share it with your friends, share it with your girlfriends, share it with your daughter, your mother, your sister, your brother, whomever. Share this conversation on tonight. If we said something that was positive, if we said something you think was beneficial for the hearts, the minds, or the spirits and the soul, just go ahead and share. Help me to build an audience. Help me to get some positive things out into the atmosphere. There is so much going on social media, the back and forth between men and women, Black men and women. There's just so much. There's the dark web. There's just so much going on social media that it's time for some positive shit to be out there, okay? It is time for us to bring messages that are relevant. And so if I have said something, I just need you to share on this evening. So you can find me on all social media platforms. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube. You can even find me on TikTok. Share. I do need to, up my social media game on some of those platforms, but I'm working on that. I'm building a brand, so I'm working on that. But like and share. And as I do, and I end all of these conversations, I always end with a thought of the night, a final thought of the night. And so my thought for you on this evening is that God wants the best for us. He wants the best for you. He wants the best for me. We often think of it as a cliche term, living our best lives. But living our best lives is a life that is full of peace, a life that is full of joy, a life that is healed, a life that is full of love. And so those are all the things that God wants for us. If you want it, it's yours for the taking. You just got to seek after it. So again, smooches, thank y'all for joining me on this evening. We will see you on next time. Tune in with us coming up in September. Stay close to the page so you can know what's coming up on She Is Nemia, High Heels and Lipstick Conversations. Smooches, thank y'all. I appreciate you.